This is a Venom SS3 2023 model, and if you have one of these or a KP 150 Mini or something similar to it, you know that these bikes are popular. They're a small bike, they're easy to ride, but they're also probably easier to steal. So we don't want to go into a store and have to worry about a motorcycle. I think it's time to put an alarm system on it. And the alarm system I'm going to put on it is this. It's not very expensive. It's an ATF WEL waterproof motorcycle. It has 5 sensitivity level alarm. Got this, I think, off of eBay or Amazon, one or the other. But it's got a lot of nice features to it. So let's just jump right into it and get started. The very first thing we need to do is take this seat off. Get it out of the way. Then up here at the front section where the gauge and the headlights at, we're going to take these 2 screws out right here. And this is, let me look what it is. That's a 5mm hex. And once you take those screws out, the headlight will just drop down. Like that. And there's a couple of little hooks or pegs or posts or whatever you want to call it at the bottom that kind of holds it in place. Now what we want to do is we want to find a circuit for the turn signals, because the only thing I'm going to use is the alarm horn that comes with it and the turn signals flashing. So I want to find some place to tap into the turn signals, all of them if I can. And I thought, well, up here on the handlebars is the emergency flashers, and if you trace the wire down, it comes down into right here. And I know from the wiring diagram that light blue and orange are the turn signal wires. The gray is going to be a power wire. Now we're not going to need the power wire because we're going to have our own separate power for the alarm unit. So all we need to do is tap into these 2 wires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this, slide this back, and we're going to be tapping into the wires somewhere like right in here. We're going to tap into them right there. Here is the alarm unit itself, and it does have a fuse for the power circuit. Now if you see, it's got a bunch of wires, and we're not going to be using all of these. It's got a plug and play horn, siren, whatever you want to call it for it, so we just have to plug that in. And this is what that looks like. And that just plugs into here. It's no big deal. We'll do that in a little bit. But we need to find a location for this. And I'm going to show you, if with all these wires, we're only going to be using the red for power, the black for ground, and the 2 yellows for the turn signals. All these other ones are not going to be used. So we're going to take care of that in a minute. But I need to find a location for this, and I found it right here. Looks like a really good location on top of the air box. I mean, it fits really nice in there. So I'm just going to put some sticky on it, and I'm going to stick it in there. But we have to put our wires into it first. That's the first step. We have to do the wires. Okay, this here is the wiring harness that they supply with it. And as you can see, I added some length to my yellow wires. These are my turn signal wires. I added a little bit of length to it because I don't think they would have reached on their own. Now, we're not going to need all these wires. All we're going to be using are the 2 yellows for the turn signal, the red for the power, and the black for ground. So I want to get rid of the other ones. there's no sense in having the extra wires in there being in the way. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to depin it. To depin it, you don't go on the big side, you go on the little side, and you just stick a wire in there like that, and it releases. It releases the pin so that the wire can come out like that. So the gray one's done. All right, so now we want to get the orange one over here. And we'll go to the bottom like that. Pull it out. Now, orange one's done. Now all we need to do is get the two in the middle here. It's really easy to do. Okay, you got the blue one, now just the pink one. Like that. So it leaves us with 4 wires. These 2 are going to be put on my battery. These 2 are going to be attached to the front by the headlight. All right, let's get to that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie these 2 yellows together with a piece of tape. And if you just fold this over onto itself, it'll give you a little tab to unwind it from. So we're going to run this underneath the tank and get it up there to where we need it to be. The red and the black, we're going to keep it back here in the back by the battery. So we only need to run 2 wires forward. All right. So we'll just put a couple of plastic zip ties in here to kind of hold these wires onto this. See, what is that? It's like the throttle cable. There we go. I'll put another zip tie up here, kind of make it look nice and neat. Like so. I'll pull them tight. All right. Now we'll kind of turn them to where the yellow's to the back side a little bit. You don't see it as much. Then we'll cut off the excess. Like that. All right, we're ready to tie this in up here. All right, now it's time to tap into these wires. Now it doesn't matter which wire goes to where because all of them are going to be flashing, so it doesn't matter. All right. So let's strip a little bit of this wire. Strip a little bit of this one. All right. Now, we're going to cut into this wire. And we're going to cut into We'll cut the orange one. Now we're going to cut the blue one. Like so. Usually I like to stagger it, but I don't have much room in here, so you have to do what you have to do. All right, take a little off of that. A little off of that. All right. Now we will just merge these two wires together. And then we're going to use these bare connectors. I like using these because then I'll use a little heat shrink over it, and it makes a real nice connection. Got to give us a little bit more room to put the heat shrink over it. There's just not much room in here on these wires, but we'll make do. Matter of fact, I'm going to cut a little bit off of that. There we go. Then take your crimpers, line it up to the crimp you want, and then it was the blue wire, so we're going to be attaching the blue wire on this end. We're going to slide it up. And then give her a little flame. Whoa, burnt that one a little bit. Be careful not to get too close. All right. Now, we need to do the orange wire. And we'll tie these two together. Put our crimp connector in our tool. Line it up. Crimp her down. And we'll take our heat shrink. I have to cut this one down a little bit too. Let's see. I think that'll be okay. And then we'll put our orange wire into our connector. I like to make sure every single strand is inside the hole. There we go. Crimp that down good and tight. That's a good connection. Slide this up. All right. Now I'm going to put just a little bit of tape on it. I'm going to put it over all three of them to kind of hold them all together. All right. Now we just need to plug these two together. Like that. I'll slide this up. Put those in there. Nobody knows we've been here. We'll put a little bit of another zip tie on that. We'll cut this off. All right. Now we'll line those pegs up down at the bottom. Tuck all this stuff in. See, this thing is supposed to be tucked in through here. So we'll tuck that in like it's supposed to be. And make sure our rubbers and our pegs are in the right location. So everything looks right. And then we'll put our screws back in. There's one. There's two. Okay, we're all done for up here. Okay, in this kit, it gives you a sticky pad to put on the bottom of this, and I'm going to use it because I don't want mine going all over the place. So just peel off one side first, and then stick it on. It's a pretty good sticky pad. Don't want this thing going all over the place. Now I'm going to put this in such a manner that it'll fit and I can still have access to this fuse, hopefully. Yeah, I can still get to it. All right. So we'll go ahead and plug our siren in. No, I'm going to wait on that because I don't want to wake the neighbors. It's only not even 6 o'clock yet. All right, now we got the sticky pad on. Let's go ahead and put it in position. Peel that off. Now, if you're wondering about this is the antenna wire for your remote. Kind kind of gently put it in there until you get it where you want it. And then stick her down. All right, now here's my wiring harness. And here's my plug. So I'm going to put these two together, like so. I don't want to get stuff tangled. I like it being nice and neat. And then I'm going to drape my antenna all the way back here, like this. Now all I need to do is attach my power and my ground. All right, let's take our strap off. And no, this strap didn't come with the bike. Those little straps that come with it broke almost immediately. So I used a bungee strap. We got a little bit of corrosion going on here. I'm gonna have to take care of that. And we'll get the stuff off of this. It's amazing how fast that corrosion happened. I don't know, this bike's only maybe 3 months old, maybe. All right, let's give ourselves a little bit of room. All right, we'll cut the length off. Now we'll just go ahead and use our little strippers. Take off a little bit of insulation. Run our eyelet down. I like that wire to go all the way through the eyelet where I could see it coming out the other side, like that. Sometimes it gets kind of jammed up in there. And then I'm going to use the insulated crimper side of my crimpers. It's a nice tight connection. All right, before we put that one on, we're going to work on this one. And we'll cut this one off. And we'll strip it. Wires all the way through on that one. And then crimp it down. So now we've got both our power and our ground. And since this has got a red terminal around it, red jacket, I'm going to put some black tape around it. I don't like that. Makes it kind of look like it might be a power wire and you might mistake it. So I'm going to cover it up with black tape. That way you know one's power, one's ground for sure. Okay. Now let's take out this one. Now that one's not corroded, so that's a good thing. And we'll slide this in with that one. We'll sneak them together in there. Marry them together. Get her tight as you can get it. All right, before I put that on. Okay, now I need to get the corrosion off of this bolt. Okay, now we'll put our nut back in here. Put our bolt in with our ground wire for our alarm. Tighten them down really good too. Okay, so now, before we put these on, we're going to put a little bit of this stuff on it, both to stop corrosion. I don't want this thing corroding anymore. Probably should have done this the first time. If nothing else, you could use that liquid electrical tape stuff, or you could use paint. A lot of different things you could use on this, but want to try to protect that from getting corroded. You can have all kinds of issues from corroded terminals. I gave that a good liberal coating. Slide this up and cover it up. Hopefully it'll all stick together. Hopefully I don't wipe it all off. But the majority of it went down in there at the bolt where the connection is. That's the important thing. The top of it's not going to matter so much. All right. Now we'll drop this back down in there. I'm going to put a fancy dancy battery hold down strap on it. This is the perfect length for this battery. I'm going to make one for this one of these days. All right. Let me see. I'm going to take a zip tie. Now I'm going to try to make this a little neater. I'm just going to zip tie these together. When it comes to wiring, neatness is your friend. All right, that's all together. Now all I have to do is I'm going to mount this back here, and I'm going to run the wire up and plug it in, but I'm not going to plug it in yet. See, this just plugs in right here like that, plug and play. But for now, I'm just going to stick this. I think this will be fine here. I don't think I'm going to need any screws or anything. Make sure that's good and clean. I don't want this thing bouncing around. All right, then we'll peel the sticky pad cover off of it. And we'll just line that line up with the line in the bike. Perfect. And that gives us plenty enough wire. I'll probably put a zip tie right there, one right there. Make it look nice and neat. And all that is just a plug and play. We're just going to plug it together. Tuck it back in over here, and then we're going to wrap a zip tie up in here. I'm going to leave that just a little bit loose until I get this other one on here. All right. Now we'll tighten this up a little bit, make it look nice and neat. Tuck that back in there. First, let's cut off. All right, now we'll cut off these tails. Now let's turn that down to where you don't get your finger hit by it. There. Nice, neat, clean installation. Everything's all tucked away. I probably need to put one zip tie on the underneath side so that my wires don't dangle over the motor too much. Maybe two. So we're done with all of that. Let's put this seat on. There we go. All right, so everything's all put together. The alarm's in it now. Now, like I said, it's early in the morning, and I'm not going to let this alarm go off a lot. I'm just going to turn it on so you can hear it and then turn it back off. Here we go. This is armed. Woo! This is disengaged or unarmed. There we go. It's functioning normally. Simple, easy installation, and it works good. So I can't tell you how many times I've gone into the store and I worried about coming out and finding my bike gone. Because it's such a small bike, it's light. It wouldn't take nothing for two people to pick it up and put it in the back of the pickup truck and be gone and nothing flat. But if they do it now, this bike's going to be screaming at them, and I think that'll stop them. So there's a lot of motorcycle thefts in the country and probably around the world, and this may not prevent it completely, but it definitely will deter them. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate your time.